to join. But for you guys now, I know some of us are kind of newer to the real estate investing space. We're in this group for the 0% funding because we know, like, hey, real estate's the shit. We could make some money, but we might we're trying to figure out the funding piece and then like the knowledge slash experience piece. So like for the newer people, what are you guys looking, or what have you guys been having your guys' eye on as far as investing? I think Harold, I think you mentioned you were looking to do like tax deeds or something. Nolan, I think you're doing property management, but like drop in the chat what you guys are wanting to potentially invest in.
Yeah, there's definitely so many ways, to make money in real estate. It's all about getting started, right? I know so many people that
Yeah.
have the funds and don't take initiative, or don't have the funds and don't know how to take initiative, but it's more than just the money. But if you have the funds, got to get started.
Yeah,
That momentum
absolutely.
going.
Yeah. And that was kind of, I talked about it on the presentation. It's just like for me, I didn't even know I was gonna get into this stuff. I was just like, all right, let me get into Airbnb arbitrage. Like if I don't like it, it's only like a 10K commitment versus me like, oh, let me just give out like 100 grand into a fix and flip if I don't know if that's 100% what I want to do. And I'm glad I just took the leap of faith, even though I didn't know if this is what I was gonna do for the rest of my life. But actually, now that I just took that leap of faith. Now I'm getting into it. But um, actually, okay, cool. So Alex, let me I'm gonna share my screen just so you can see some of this here. So yeah, we got Nolan. He's getting into STRs. Can you see this, Alex?
Yeah.
Cool. So in the chat, we got property management, but open to other options. That's awesome, Nolan. Let us know how that portfolio you got going on. I think you mentioned you had like a almost like a boutique hotel that you're going to be managing the property out in Oregon. That's huge. Harold, you're looking to do rentals and Airbnb. Audrey's doing Airbnb, and then Denise, Amy's trying to get into foreclosure. So
Amy's
that's
gonna be
aw
getting me some properties, that's for sure.
Let's go.
Keep
And
going,
she
man.
she's one of the students too. So now that we're gonna teach her how to get a couple 100 grand in 0%, she's gonna be able to start taking advantage on that and hopefully helping her clients too if they need to get some capital. So exciting stuff. Well, heck yeah. Let's get right into it. I'll stop sharing my screen. No, it's not trying, Amy. We are doing. I don't
Doing
like
it.
that word try. Either we do it or we don't. So you're making shit happen. So hell yeah. Well, cool. Let's get into it. I'll stop sharing my screen. We've got an awesome next hour ahead of us. Let's get into it.
Perfect. All
Awesome.
right.
So real quick, I'll just give you a quick intro. But what's up, guys? Welcome back to another Value Bomb Wednesday. We got a special episode with us. We got my boy Alex here to drop tons of game. We're going to be going over, a big part of our community. There's two parts when people are getting into real estate. They have the biggest problem with it is they don't have the money. So how do I get the capital? And number two, once I get the capital, how do I actually invest it? So that's more so for people who are just starting out. And this is one of the few communities out there where we're not just a funding company. We're not here just to get you into a bunch of debt. We want to see you guys leverage OPM and make that capital work for you guys. So we're not just getting you this capital. We want to actually see you guys make money and see what you guys buy from it. So that's why we have Alex here, absolute beast in the real estate game, tons and years of experience. And I want him to be dropping game on how you guys can potentially start using the capital that we teach here in the group to start getting into more deals. And if you guys are already doing some deals, I guarantee you guys will still learn something from here. So without further ado, I'll let Alex get right into it.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I really appreciate you having me here. And, I'm grateful to be here talking to the community. And, this is an awesome opportunity, and looking forward to collaborate with you and see whatever value we can provide you guys. I'm going to share with you, a little bit about myself, a little bit about, my experience and a specific deal that I worked on. But most importantly is I want to hear from you guys. What do you want to learn? What is it? What are the challenges and struggles you have that we can always, get you answers for? Some of the challenges, in addition to what you mentioned, Miguel, the money is a big, big factor, right? Some of the challenges with, some of the clients or investors that I work with are, experience. I don't have the time and so forth, right? Those are other, things that hold people back. And, I just want to mention that, being an investor, there's many ways to look at it, right? You mentioned, some people are interested in tax deeds. That's awesome, right? I say, find your niche, find what you love and want to do and what keeps that fire going and just do it, double down on it, right? Whether it's working with foreclosures, wholesaling, Airbnb, whatever the case may be. One thing that I want to, start off with is the reason why many people fail in real estate is because there's too many ways to succeed, right? So find that one thing that you love and just double down on it. Doesn't mean you shouldn't learn any other strategies. No, learn about it this way. It's good to, you have to have exit strategies, but focus on that one thing and double down on it, and that's how you're going to be successful. So I also want to share that, in real estate investing, there's active and there's passive, right? Some people don't have experience
Hmm.
and don't have, the time or don't have the money. Partnerships are amazing, right? If you have money, you don't have something else, find that other person to complement. You can be a passive investor if you don't have any experience or time. You don't have to run the day-to-day operations, or vice versa. If you do have a lot of time but you don't have money, partner with somebody that needs that, right? I'm always looking for people to partner up with that have, either have the money, or even if they don't have the money, they have other expertise, because, I can bring money, or, sometimes I don't have the time either. So I just wanted to start off by sharing that. I'll share a little bit more about myself, but first I want to, touch on this specific deal that I want to talk about, right? It was a fix and flip, but it went bad, right? It didn't go any way the way we expected it, the way we planned it. However, it was an awesome, very successful house hack. And that's why I wanted to share this deal. I didn't want to share, the most successful deal, the best deal, the one we made all the money on. No, I wanted to share one that we had a lot of struggles, a lot of challenges, because I feel, it's all about transparency, right? And that's the way you guys are going to learn, is by learning from other people's mistakes. And
Hmm.
that's the benefit, with the mentorship program that I have and the investors that I work with, is I want to show them what I did wrong in addition to the things that I did right, so they don't do the same mistakes. And that's how you save yourself a lot of money, right? So this
Hmm.
is this is that deal. And every deal, has interesting things, man. Every single deal has, hoarder houses that I've dealt with. I've, dealt with squatters and so forth. And, ironically, this morning I was taking my kids to school, and I get a call at 7:30 a.m. from one of my workers. And guess what he tells me? One of the workers passed away in the house, you know?
Oh my God. Damn.
Very unfortunate, very unexpected, right? I mean, I guess the guy, had was sick and so forth, and it is what it. But it's like, it's challenging. It's not easy. People think, you real estate, you make a lot of money, but there's a lot of things that come along with it. So I'm gonna share with you guys the good, bad, and the ugly. So moving on, let me see. Okay, so a little bit about me. Some I'm obviously a father of three. I'm a husband. I got into, I doubled down on real estate and real estate investing, simply because, one, I'm self-driven, motivated, but also I wanted the freedom to have the time to to see and spend time with my kids and my wife, and, give back to the community. And real estate, really offered me that. I started in real estate investing before I got licensed and before I jumped into real estate full time. So yes, I'm a real estate broker. I do run a team of agents here in Los Angeles, California, specifically out of the Pasadena area is our office. However, we help people in SoCal overall. So we help buyers and sellers, but our niche is working with real estate investors. I'm also a very, very active investor, and we'll touch on that as well. However, I got into real estate investing before I got licensed, and my first property that I purchased was in 2000, right? It was about 23, 24 years ago, and that was a car lot. I was going to college. My brother, he's a real estate investor. He's an entrepreneur. He's like, I was going to college. I got married very young, and he was like, why don't we partner up? I was selling cars on the side of the streets at the time, right? And working, graveyard shift at a gas station and so forth. He's like, why don't we, partner up together and open a business? So we did. I got my car dealer's license. We're looking for properties. We found the corner lot in El Monte on Peck Road. And he's like, perfect, go for it. This is what you need to do. I said, okay. He's like, one thing that I advise you is instead of renting the property, buy the property. I was like, I have no money to my name. You know, I was extremely young. I was going to college. I was working, again, at a gas station at the time, selling cars on the side. And he's like, this is the only way I'm going to do the deal with you is, buying the property rather than leasing, because the business can come and go, but the property is going to be there, right? The real estate is going to remain there. So
Mm.
back then, obviously, properties weren't as expensive as now. The property was about 175,000. I got the seller to do seller financing for a portion. I raised 75,000 from friends and family, and I was able to do the deal. Years into that, September 11 hit, things changed, macroeconomic and personal circumstances changed. We had to close the business, so I leased the property. Years after that, I was able to sell the property, right? So had I not bought the land, had I not bought the property, I would have had nothing to my name. The business would have been gone, and that's it. You move on. So that's one thing, I learned is that, buy the property rather than lease it if it's going to be a business, right? It's all about assets and liabilities.
I really like what your friend had to say. It's just like businesses are going to come and go. The property is going to be there forever. So that's huge.
It is, I mean, that's exactly that. So in addition, I put in about 18 years in the automotive business after, we closed down that car dealership. And, I was doing investments with my brother throughout that time, owned rental properties, buy and holds, and so forth. And in the automotive business, I was always into, I got my MBA degree and a minor in psychology. And I was always intrigued in how people think and why I behave a certain way, why other people behave a certain way, and so forth. So I got into, people recognize me in the car business, and I got into, coaching and mentoring other managers and then other, team members. And the last dealership I worked in, I had about 120 people, working with me that I trained and managed and so forth. So I always had that passion. And I never my direct reports and employees, always called me coach versus anything else, right? I didn't want to be seen as like I'm the manager. I'm their coach, right? We got to work together. This is a team effort, right? That's the way businesses
Mhm.
succeed. So that's that. Then I transitioned to real estate full time. I got my license. I didn't jump in right away. I started full time about 8 years ago, and again continued investing and organically grew my team. And this here I am now. I'm very involved in the community in many different ways. I'm passionate about, helping others, taking on challenging situations when it comes to helping buyers and sellers. And that's why I enjoy working with, investors that or aspiring investors or that have never done a deal, or those that have done deals and had issues and like questioning whether they should continue or not. Those are the people that I love spending time with, because it requires a lot of time, a lot of care, a lot of empathy, and not many people out there, want to do that. It's the challenging situations versus working with other investors that are established, right? So that's my
Mhm.
passion. I'm a youth soccer coach as well. I've been, volunteering, coaching my kids' teams for about 7 years now, and I enjoy every minute of it. It's another full-time job that I have. Like almost every day of the week, I have something around, soccer or my kids. But again, it just keeps me closer to my family and the community, and that to me is priceless. So.
Nice.
That's enough about me. Let's jump into the deal. Again, this deal initially was supposed to be a fix and flip. It turned into a house hack. The property is in La Crescenta, California, and it's a single family home, right? So just to touch a little bit on, obviously a fix and flip, you fix it up and you sell it, right? You have capital gains taxes there and so forth. That's a very common strategy. I do a lot of fix and flips. I have multiple fix and flips ongoing right now at different stages on the market, getting ready to go on the market, just started, and anywhere in between. Um, I do want to touch a little bit on, I've been involved again in commercial, multi-unit, single family, small cosmetic fixes, additions, and brand new construction ground up. So I've gotten, my feet wet in many different things, but then just like I mentioned initially, I'm taking a step back and focusing mainly on the burst strategy, which if you're not aware what the burst strategy stands for, is buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat, right? You may ask, like, why the heck is he talking about fix and flips and house hacks if that's the strategy? Well, they tie together, and that's why it's like it's good to know about other strategies, because they all tie in together one way or the other. And you got to be able to adjust and adapt to the current market, right? Right now in California, or at least in Los Angeles specifically, the market is appreciating very well, and for the most part, right? Like from one area to the other, it differs. And then with the high interest rates, fix and flips are a great strategy. I own property out of state as well that are rental properties that are BRRRR. Right now in California, I'm focusing on fix and flips, and the BRRRR strategy would be more of an exit strategy. As far as house hack, touch a little bit on that is, obviously it's similar to a BRRRR and a fix and flip. However, you're going to hold on to the property, you're going to live in the property, and the goal is to create other sources of rental income from the property, right? So
Mhm.
and another purpose of a house hack that many people advocate or many people use is so you can benefit from low down payment loans. Like some of you out there that are don't know how to get started and don't have that much money to their name, or Miguel helped you come up with 50, $100,000, but then you also need money for down payment. This is where you can leverage like low down payment programs such as FHA 3.5%, some conventional loans 3%. And believe it or not, there are some banks and credit unions and some programs that offer 0% financing, right? I
Mhm.
can always share more about that on another call, or you can hit me up directly, but there are programs out there, right? If there's a will, there's a way, you'll find it. But that's what's cool about House Hack is you can leverage, if a first time home buyer loan, low down payment loan, purchase the property, and you can purchase up to a 4 unit, because anything 4 units or below is considered a single family. So let's say you purchase a 4 unit, you live in 1 unit, you rent the three, you create rental income, you offset your mortgage. Or in certain cases, I've seen, some people purchase a house, they rent by the room. You can do that as well.
Mm,
In this specific
nice.
case here, you know, it's a house with a 3-car garage. So, we remodeled the house, we converted a portion of the garage to a living space, a studio, created rental income there, added value, added square footage. You have to live in the property. I mean, to do this correctly and legally, they say you have to live in the property for a year. We lived there a little bit over 2 years, specifically to keep it clean. However, also for the tax benefits, which I'll talk about a little bit later.
Real
So,
quick, just on like that house hack, something I wanted to add to it is I've worked with a couple clients already doing this like same exact strategy. And if you're new to real estate investing, you're probably still renting, right? So if you don't really know where to start, like what I was talking to a client was, they were paying like 3 grand a month in rent out in LA, and they're like, yeah, we're waiting on saving the cash for the down payment. I'm like, damn, that's like, you're paying 3K a month. That's 36K for this apartment out here in LA. Like, imagine that could be your down payment right now if you had it to go get this duplex. So you're not paying somebody else's mortgage and rent and not getting any equity appreciation or whatever. And that's why if you're just starting out, I feel like a house hack is a really good option because if you don't even own a house yet, like just get some 0% capital, get the down payment, and just start building up your own equity. Start paying off your own mortgage versus somebody else. That's why if you guys are new to real estate investing, that I feel like that's a very attractive thing to at least just own your house, even if you don't know if you're gonna get into fix and flips or more, or like what the next steps are. Like at least start owning your house versus renting and paying somebody else's off.
Absolutely. It's one of the best, entry level strategies to do. And the cool thing is you can do it over and over again as long as you stick to the timelines, and you know exactly what you're doing. So definitely a great way to start. And and again, going back to like nobody really cares to share those details with people, right? That's why many people look for out of state. There's nothing wrong with out of state investing. Obviously, I do it, but there is something wrong when you invest in general for the wrong reasons and not knowing, not having intention and specific reasons and goals as to why you did this versus that, right? I recently helped out, one of my newest clients in my mentorship program, a 26-year-old girl that just bought her first house hack. She was renting. She's hardworking. Same thing, I'm waiting to save. I'm waiting to save. I'm waiting to save. And she's trying to save that 20% down payment. Where we ended up buying, getting her a property that she's house hacking. She's not paying rent anymore. And she ended up paying about 3% down payment with all the negotiation that we did, the credit that we got, and the structuring of the deal, thinking she was going to pay 20% down. She ended up paying about 3% or less, purchased the property in California, Silmar, California to be exact, where the price point isn't cheap, you know? So it's
Mm.
possible. You just have to have, the will. You want to do this, work with the right people, partner up with the right agent or the right person to help you get there. So let's move on. So I'm going to take you guys through a little tour of the property, just show you some before and afters, and then we'll jump into other metrics and details of the transaction. So this is obviously the exterior. There's no detail left untouched here, from the landscaping, the windows, smooth stucco, the roof. The pictures of the after, were before we got the chimney, actual different type of brick on the chimney. So forgive me for that. But as you can see, a complete makeover. Over here by the front door, this like glass area in the middle, that was like, an open space. If you can see on the roof on the top, it's open, it's all dirt. So what I ended up doing is I maximized the square footage and I extended one of the bathrooms and I turned that into living space, and obviously all permitted and everything in this case because of the scale of the work that was done. So that's that here. A little bit of the back, as you can see, pool, no pool. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the presentation. You see those palm trees, they're intimidating, man. Those palm trees were huge. And I didn't know how we were gonna take them down, but the people that took them down were beasts, man. They handled business. I was like, something's gotta fall on the house, you know?
Yeah.
But that was all taken care of. So if you see here in the back of the house where there's that sliding door with the windows, that was just like, unpermitted space. So we got that permitted. In order to do that, we did have to reinforce the foundation underneath. So we did the foundation, got that permitted, created an office space to the right, and then a huge like playroom, a kids area to the left, and had a very nice open concept.
Oh, damn. So you just basically, because that's like a almost just like a backyard patio, but you guys were able to enclose it and then add. That's dope.
Yeah.
That's
So that
dope.
became part of the square footage. Again, foundation reinforced, 20-foot doors on both sides of it. This way, if the kids are there, it's quiet, it's silent and everything. And then when you want to open up the doors, you got the beautiful mountain views. So it's good for an open indoor, outdoor concept. And, we got extra square footage there with that, which really helped out the value of the property. And we'll touch on that as well. Here in the garage, this portion of it was converted to a studio, and that was the initial rental portion of the property that generated income in the beginning. And then take you guys into the kitchen. So, as we're talking, Miguel, design, you have to give things thought, right? I'll touch on that again down a little bit into the presentation, but you have to, be very considerate as to, what the design, the finishes you're going to use and so forth, what the strategy you use, what the end user is. You don't want to underspend, but you definitely don't want to overspend. And the design I go through it. Sometimes I change my mind multiple times, but you have to be thoughtful. Sometimes it may cost more money, the change orders, sometimes they may save you money. It doesn't matter as long as it's the right thing for the property, for the deal, and for the end user. And that's what matters most. So here there was a lot of change orders. We raised the ceiling, opened the floor plan. We had a waterfall island. This is the primary bathroom, just one of the bathrooms. Then here again, the inside living space, the dining room area, as you can see, we decided to keep the brick fireplace. So it's a dual facing fireplace. We updated the other side, kept the brick facing the brick on the fireplace on this side because we felt that added a lot of character and a lot of charm. And then we also preserved the wood beams in the ceiling in this particular room because again, that adds to the charm. We just resurfaced it and restained it and kept it original. Let me know if you have any questions or if anybody drops a question, I can always stop. So
Cool.
moving on.
I'm
Yeah,
keeping an eye out on the comments too. So if we see any questions, I'll let you know.
perfect.
We'll definitely save the last 10 minutes too towards the end for any questions.
Perfect. Perfect. So jumping into it, how to find a deal and how this deal was found specifically. So there's many different ways, to find deals, right? For investments, most people think, oh, off market, off market, off market. That's the only way to find a deal. The misconception is, oh, you can't find deals on the MLS. I'll be the first to tell you that's completely wrong. I was speaking to one of my investor clients that's in my program yesterday, as a matter of fact, and she was getting a little discouraged. Oh, these guys are overbidding. Some people just, sometimes you're competing with an end user and you're an investor. You have to understand that. And if it's a property that some people can obtain financing on, you're gonna compete with people that are willing to pay a lot more than you because they're not gonna fix it like you would, and they're not gonna want to sell it. So you have to take that into consideration. So she was thinking, oh, off market is the only way to go. But I shared with her that obviously I've purchased off market deals. I get a lot of off market deals, but currently, like ironically, the properties, the current projects that I'm working on that I recently sold are all on the MLS. you know and if you know how to look for a property, you know how to underwrite a deal correctly, you'll find deals. And of course you have to negotiate, right? It's all about negotiation and the reputation that you have, because if you're going to deal with other agents, you have to have a very good reputation. You have to be trusted in the industry. If you put in an offer, people are going to they need to know that you're going to close on the offer, right? Because I work with the buy side and the sell side, and I know the sellers, all they want is, they want the money, they want the terms, but also agents want, to work with an agent that they know they can trust, that's not going to play games. So that's where reputation matters.
Mm.
So finding a deal on the MLS is huge. I find them all the time. You just have to know how to underwrite the deal and be cautious from making mistakes. But that's something that I walk my students through to make sure the deals are correct based on the strategy that they're looking for. Other sources, again, obviously off market, right? Wholesale deals. Wholesale deals can be off market deals and can be on the market deals, right? Wholesalers work with both properties that are listed and off market. So you have to, work with a trusted wholesaler, and so forth. Agent network, networking, and word of mouth. So agent network, I also get a lot of deals from agent network, especially probate deals. I have multiple agents that just come straight to me when they get a probate deal, for example, especially that if they have an opportunity to sell it before it hits the market. Why? Because they know if I say I'm going to buy it, if I raise my hand, or if I say I have a buyer for it, they know it's a done deal. Because if I give my word, my reputation matters in the industry, so they know that it's going to happen, and they can vouch for me with their clients, and so that's how I get a lot of my deals as well. And then networking with other agents, with other people, and then word of mouth. You just got to let people know you're looking for, investment properties, what type of properties. You have to have your buy box, right? That's something that I work with my students with initially, is you got to figure out what's your buy box, what's your risk tolerance, and then you kind of work backwards from there. You can't just look at anything and everything. any type of property. You have to have area, bedroom, bath count, size. What are you trying to do? Are you adding value? Is a garage important for you? Cul-de-sac, alley access? What is it that you're looking at? All that comes into play, and then price point, of course.
Something I'd like us to do too next time we're on here,
Yeah.
because this is great, just learning, how to use this funding and kind of leverage. But if you're down, the next one we could do is like you mentioned, like really understanding how to analyze like the MLS. I feel like that'd be like something really huge that the community could benefit off of. So if that's something you guys are interested in, comment analysis down below. And if Alex is kind enough, we'd love to have you back on there to just do like a full like 30-minute hour, just like focusing just on that like one skill.
I would love that. You just let me know when. I think even more so, like if somebody can bring us an address or a specific property that they're looking at or they looked at one point and they weren't sure if they analyzed it correctly, I would love to do a deal like that. This way, it's more catered to them versus just
Hmm.
my market that maybe they're not familiar with. So absolutely, you just let me know the time and day, and I'll be here.
Yeah, no, we got hella people in the chat. I feel like that's going to be such a big thing, like just being able to show them, like, hey, here's how we analyze the deal. I think it'd be really cool to, you know, give like we walk through like a whole 30-minute, hour long, whatever, however long it takes to learn that lesson, and then the next time we have you on here, like whoever took action on those SOPs could bring that back, and we just like rip it apart and give them a ton of feedback if they made mistakes or what they could have done better. But yeah, that'd be awesome.
For sure, man. For sure. Very exciting, and I look forward to it. So getting into, funding and, getting the financing and the source of funds that you get, right? Like, I don't want you to be discouraged, when we go through this and like, oh, I didn't put any money out of my pocket. That's not the way I started, right? It doesn't always work that way. Every deal is different. There are many deals that I do use money, but when I can use leverage, that's what I work with. And when I met Miguel and learned about what you do for the community, it just it blew me away. I'm like, damn, those are the things that allowed me to be successful, and you're there taking the time and effort and energy to show people how to do that. That's amazing. That's why I love connecting with you, and that's why I'm here today. I want to share anything I can to help complement what you're doing for your community, because I think it's phenomenal, right?
Thank
uh,
you, thank you. Yeah.
Allowing them to think outside the box. So these are some of the sources of the funds that I use in this specific project, right? One is obviously business lines of credit. 0% is the key word, right? Try to offset that interest. Anytime I can find ways to leverage 0%, that's going to be the most important thing. And you don't just get the money and then you just start spending it. You got to figure out what you need to spend first. What are you going to spend it on, and so forth. For me, I have multiple cards, multiple business credit cards that are 0% interest, and then I pay them off, and then I, work through them again. And that's something I'm sure Miguel can, has shared or will share with you guys, because he's the expert at that. For me, I use such funding for mainly purchasing material, right? Because we have a lot of material that we purchase on every project or multiple projects. So I use that for material. I do know, and you shared last time you were at our event, when you spoke at our event, that you have ways also to show people how to access the funds and use it as liquid. So connect with Miguel on that, and that would be very helpful if that's needed. Additionally, in this particular project, I used self-directed IRA loans. That's something I'm extremely passionate about, right? When I learned about that, and I learned that, I don't need to use my 401k or IRA strictly to invest in stocks or mutual funds or ETFs, that I can actually use it for alternative assets and specifically real estate investing. I can be a passive investor or I can be an active investor, and I can use that. That was a game changer. And since then, I've been on a mission on sharing this information with people, educating people about that. Because again, I shared my background was 18 years in automotive and corporate America. All we're taught to do is, put money into your 401k. That's a great thing. Don't get me wrong. But it's like when you don't know why or what you're doing, Doesn't matter what it is. It's not
Mm.
necessarily right. I was under the impression that all I can do is put it in the market, let somebody manage it for me. When the market crashed in 2008, I lost my 401k. I worked my ass off, but I lost all the money then. So now that I learned this, I go back to, those that I worked with in the past, and I'm like, what did you do with your 401k? What did you do with your retirement account? And they're like, oh, I don't know. I left it. I left that company. I don't know anything. I left it there. I'm like, dude, this is what you need to do. You can roll it over. You can get it back. You can take control over it. And then it's like sharing this with people that, basically wrote off that money and thought that it doesn't matter, I can't touch it anyways. If I touch it, it's going to be a taxable event and so forth. So now I'm sharing with them how they can roll that over, get that money back, and actually use money that they just completely wrote off to invest either with me or invest it in real estate, right? Passively or actively, and that's been a game changer. So since that, that's one of the main sources of leverage that I have, and a lot of the investors that I work with, this is how I raise my money. And if you want to learn more about that, connect with me, and I can always, dive deeper into that. That's, one of the main things that I share with my students and educate them on, because this is a game changer. Additionally, concierge loan, right? You're probably wondering what the heck is a concierge loan. So with our brokerage, we have a program that, we offer sellers that are working with us a concierge loan. It's a concierge program we have. So if you're listing your property with me, I'm able to get you access to such funds. That's changed, throughout the years and, before and after COVID. So at the time that I got it, it was up to $80,000. So I maximized that.
Mm.
Was 0% interest, no fee, no strings attached, nothing. You just pay it back at the end of escrow or 12-month, whichever comes first, right? So in this case, because the property, and we'll see a little bit later in the sheet that, the property, obviously, like I mentioned, I kept it over 2 years. So, I paid that off. I moved the money from one pocket to the other. I paid it off and then reapplied and so forth. So that's a program that we offer to our sellers, something I can offer to others as well. So that's what concierge is. It has been updated recently. It dropped to $40,000. Again, since COVID, and just last month they did increase it over $40,000. But if you do get over $40,000, there is now a fee for that and interest, but it's extremely competitive compared to other, hard money or construction funding out there. Again, they got to make their money too. So I leveraged that in that project, and it was awesome. Again, 0%. So we got 0%
That's
credit.
crazy. What? We
Yeah,
got the 0% business credit and the 0% loan. Let's go. That's
100%.
awesome.
There you go.
I'm definitely, I didn't even know that was a thing. So I'm gonna be, yeah, if you guys are, I don't know about you guys. I thought I was only aware of just 0% business credit. I didn't know there were 0% loans out there. So you're saying the concierge loan, that's specifically with the realtors, or who is it exactly that's lending that out?
Yeah, it's with our corporation. So Compass is a publicly traded company. We have
Gotcha.
money, so we have that specific program to encourage sellers to work with us, right? That's, a an advantage that we have on others. So we do offer that. So now it is again 40,000, right? Now there's a fee of $750 initiation fee because, again, they're getting smarter. They need to make money. There's obviously,
Yeah.
losses they
I
have
mean,
to
that's
offset.
worth it, dude.
750,
750 bucks for like
that's nothing,
40K, dude. Like
right?
at 0%. Damn. Well, we'll have to talk more on that. If you guys are interested in learning about the concierge loan, the 0% loan, comment the word loan, and we'll have Alex send you guys more. Because, dude, if Compass is doing that, like let's get some business over there. That's huge.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. And and again, there are other, banks and specifically credit unions that offer. I don't want to go too deep into this. I mean, this is not the topic, but I do want to let people know there are specific credit unions. You don't have to, be a veteran or anything specific. Specific credit unions that do offer you 0% down payment loans, right? And
Wow,
you don't
that's
have to be low
crazy.
income, high income. It doesn't matter. It's just again, connect with me on that. I can share more about it. And
Oh, we're definitely having a full thing in on that, dude. That's just like a whole another world of 0% out there that I'm about to eat it up for through you, dude. Thank you for sharing that info.
For
That's
sure,
huge,
man.
guys. Hell yeah.
And then again, in this particular case, I took advantage of a low down payment loan because it was a house hack, but I didn't get a conventional loan here because it did need, rehab. I got an interest only loan, so I got a 10% down payment interest only loan. It was like a 5 year arm, specifically because knowing that I was gonna refinance the property and then get into a more traditional 30 year fixed loan. So I was able to do that. And, again, by having access to lenders, again, working with me, you'll have access to all of this, access to the lenders, to whatever you're going to need, right? I walk my students from, A to Z, right? I create a curated plan specifically for them. It's not like a one size fits all. Some people need help in getting the funding. Some people need help in finding the deal, underwriting the deal, picking the finishes, finding the contractors. Some people may need one or all of these, right? And that's what I'm here to do. Just curate a plan that works for that specific person. So some of the metrics here, and again, if you guys are interested in the SOP, we'll share with you later. That's going to be a giveaway that, we're going to give everybody on this call or everybody that listens to this and anybody in Miggles community. So it's going to have these details in there. So I'm just going to touch on it a little bit. Obviously, how to calculate your profit. It's your ARV minus your costs, right? ARV or your selling price, right? I mean, if you're doing it before you sell it, you calculate it based on your forecasted ARV. However, you may not sell it for the ARV. It may be less or more. It just depends. In this case, I do also want to add, in addition to ARV, as far as profit, like in addition to the sold price, I had to incorporate the rental income that was generated during the holding period, right? So I had to take that into consideration. And then you subtract all your costs, your purchase price, repair costs, the rehab cost there, and the holding cost and selling cost. And again, these are things that, people miss and miscalculate their numbers is, holding costs, you have to take that into consideration. That's part of your cost. In this case, I showed you multiple ways that I got the money. Some are 0%, which is great, but then some did have interest. So you have to account for every single loan that you got because you ended up paying interest on
Mm.
it. So that interest is part of the holding cost. And then selling costs, you have to take into consideration, the closing costs that it's going to cost you when you go into escrow, the commissions that you're going to pay to sell the property and so forth. All that has to be taken into consideration. And then ARV, it's the after repair value. That's again a topic for another call. But you have to be very precise on calculating the ARV. And again, it's going to depend on your strategy. What is the strategy? What's the area? Who the end user is, and so forth. And then return on investment and your cash on cash return. So in here in the sheet that I'm going to share with you guys, I calculated the cash on cash return. You calculate it based on how much money you put in the deal. And in this specific case, I just wanted to share with you, what, people talk about the infinite return. I shared it with how much I put in the deal from my personal money. So
Cool, cool. Real quick before we get into that too, as Alex mentioned, we're going to be sharing that SOP, but if you guys comment the word SOP in the comment section, we'll make sure you guys get that. Sometimes we forget everybody who to send it to who's on the call, especially the people who are watching the pre-recording later. So comment the word SOP and we'll reach out to you directly as well to make sure you guys get all those resources.
absolutely. So I'm gonna move along, a little bit quicker, just cognizant of time, because I want to share everything with our audience today. So I'm gonna touch on this. Obviously, managing the rehab. Sometimes you have a plan and the plan doesn't go accordingly, right? You have to be ready for that. This is a perfect example that things went wrong. A lot of different things went wrong, and that's how you get better. Timeline of renovation. The timeline was supposed to be 3 months. It took 8 months. Yeah. Managing the contractors and subs, as you'll see a little bit later, I had to fire the contractor on this project. He was actually doing another fix and flip for me at the same time that we started before taking on this project. And, things were going wrong. I ended up having to fire him. And again, it was all through COVID and so forth. And, finding the replacement was a little bit of a challenge. So avoiding delays, keeping costs within budget, again, this was a perfect example of it didn't stay within budget. We thought it was going to be just a cosmetic fixer. We opened up walls and we found out things that, ethically you just cannot just, it's not about putting lipstick on a pig. You have to do things right. You have to do things ethically. So
Mm,
you provide a good product that you're proud of to put out there in the market, right? Especially in this case, I did have my family in there for a while. So, I had to make sure that it was done right. And that you got to take that into consideration before anything else, before thinking of your personal interest. So in this case, the budget was almost double what I anticipated. And those are some of the reasons why it shifted from a fix and flip to a house hack, right? This was the plan. I had to pivot and shift and still made money rather than just call it a loss. And then picking the right finishes appropriate to the area and user, that is huge. But also picking the finishes that are specific to your strategy. Again, is it a rental property? Is it a fix and flip? Is it a burr? Every type of strategy is going to require specific types of finishes. And, I've worked with I've partnered up with a lot of people and have helped some of my students that make a lot of mistakes in that area or made mistakes, and then once they started working with me are like, wow, you just saved me 20, 30, 40 grand because before this is what I used to do, and now you're showing me this and I'm still getting the same or more return, but then I'm saving on cost. So it's huge to make
mm.
sure the finishes are a big deal. So here are the numbers. Again, I'm going to go through this smoothly but quickly as well. This way we get through the entire presentation. So again, property type, it's a single family home, La Crescenta, California. We purchased it ironically almost 4 years ago, man. Minus 4 days. Purchase price was 865. The deal was sourced on the MLS, and the way we structured the deal, we negotiated the deal. Actually, this one, I didn't have any partners on it, so it was, I went in it alone. Went in it no contingencies, 14-day escrow. I went in with a 24-hour release of deposit, and what does that mean? Is basically after 24 hours, my deposit went hard. If the deal doesn't go through, I'm done. I'm gone. I've released it, right? There's no coming back from that. So it's not something that I advise anybody or everybody to do. You have to, be cautious on that, have the right guidance and support to go through that. And it's not for every deal. So I just want to caution you on that. Again, the exit strategy here initially was a fix and flip, then it was house hack and burr. Those were two also other options. And as we went along with the circumstances and the challenges we faced, we had to pivot, do a house hack. It was profitable. Initial square footage was 1731 square feet. We added square footage, made it 2051 square feet. That's with the back area that I mentioned. And then we also added livable square footage in the studio, which is not included on there, but that was um, additional living space. Sources of funds, we talked about that. Initial ARV, when we calculated the ARV, it was 1,250,000. That was being conservative, 1,250,000. Once we sold the property, 2+ years later, we sold it for 1,600,000. So we definitely maximized, the market fluctuation. It was the seller's market. It was to our advantage, and
Damn,
that's how we
that's
finished.
crazy. You mentioned too that was considering after like the your cost budget was literally almost doubled, and you guys still made 350 in two. That's fucking nuts, dude. That's
Yeah.
crazy. 350, not bad for 2 years, and you guys got to live in it too. So that's pretty awesome.
100%. And you got to consider like the deal wouldn't have been as nice if we would have just sold it as a flip or called it a loss or broke even or made just a little bit of money. That's why the pivot, that thinking, what else can you do, what other strategies you can do, and then going for it, right? If one door closes, you got to knock on the other one and then make sure it opens. So we sold it in 6/30/2023. So just under 3 years later. These are the holding costs, and I was very detailed in here. I calculated the loan on the initial purchase loan, how much the mortgage was, what was the cost on that loan, and the length of that loan. Again, it was for about 8 months. That's when the project got done and we were able to refinance it. We got a HELOC of 249,000 this way to pay off some of the initial leverage and then move it around and then keep that 0% interest as needed. So there's the cost for that. Then we refinanced it at a low interest rate, and that was the payment. That's the cost. Self-directed IRA loans, again, that's something that it's it's an amazing subject for another day, but you typically those are paid off in lump sum. So when I do partner up with somebody that wants to be a passive investor, doesn't have time but has the money, we partner up in that way where we pay it back either when the project is done, or if it's a longer term project, within a year, 2 years, depending on the terms, we pay it in lump sum. Obviously, some things are catered to the specific where the money's coming from. If it's an IRA, people don't care about getting monthly payments. It's going back to the IRA, so that's the benefit of that. And then the 0% business credit that's paid off as well, but that there's no cost to that. Concierge, there's no cost to that. Rehab cost is 275,000. Have in there the rental income, how long the property was rented, and how much it generated in rent. Then we had the midterm rental for 4 months at $8,800 and how much that generated. And then the total rental income to put it in the calculations, right? The total investment, the profit, and so forth. So the profit, 247,000. You got to keep in mind that was no capital gains because it was a house hack. It was kept for over 2 years. So if
Mm,
this was a property that was flipped, let's say 247,000. If it's like almost 40%, 45% more if I were to pay taxes on it, right? So it was almost like a $450,000 profit in this case. And then here, just for SNGs, we have the ROI 17.2%, and then the cash on cash return specifically for personal funds. It's an infinite return, but obviously it's a different calculation if you use the amount of money that that was borrowed and to put into this deal. So that is that. Now, some of the challenges over here, again, I wanted to focus on the challenges, the setbacks, because that's really what adds value and lessons to others. So here it was one of the things was like, there's a pool. Look at the pool, how it overtakes the backyard completely. So we were like, and it's very deep. Do we do the pool? We're already, anticipating being over budget. Things are going wrong. What do we do? So I had to take, things, think it through very, very well. I decided no pool. And to get rid of a pool, there's two ways, at least in the city of LA, to do it. You got to do it with permits. One way, you drill holes in it. There's procedures for that. You compact it, you call an inspector, then you do more and compact it, call an inspector, and so forth. That's one way. That's the way we decided. Then there's another way where you do soil testing and stuff like that. However, the way I decided to go with it prevents you from building on above the pool. So I had to take that into consideration. Oh, is that going to be a problem? Well, I was like, no, there's no space to build anyway. So why accrue more cost and do it the other way? And I'm not going to build anyway. So you have to take those, it's a leap of faith and you have to believe in yourself and just move on with it. So I created a beautiful entertaining area, outdoor barbecue area, and so forth for families to enjoy versus just having a pool. Again, some of the other challenges, we had to fire the contractor along the way, lost 45,000 in overpayment to that contractor, but we had to cut our losses short. Again, they were doing two projects for us. They were almost done with the first project, but we just had to cut them loose and move on and scramble. So that made things a lot worse. So that, threw off the budget, threw off the timeline. So again, finding the replacement contractor takes a lot of time. Permitting delays due to COVID, that was so hectic, man. Getting a hold of
mm,
inspectors, getting things done, getting the plans reviewed and so forth. It was just extremely hectic. It's gotten a lot better now, but that's something, sometimes it's hard to plan for. Um, Again, going over budget, the budget almost doubled from what we expected. The timeline, dealing with break-ins, I was there at the property one time and I see like a Toyota Tacoma parking in front of the house, and then these three young guys coming out with their skateboards and buckets, Home Depot buckets, and they were going in there. They want to skateboard in the pool because it was empty at the time, and then steal material. And I caught them. So they apparently they've been doing that multiple times because the neighbor told me so. That's it happens in other projects as well. This one was an easy one to deal with. And then switching strategies, which affects the design, the finishes, and so forth. And the one thing that, obviously, I'll be honest, I did get hung up on a little bit. And that's something a lot of people that I work with, some of my students and buyers that I work with get hung up on. But you got to move on from that is how much is the seller or the person that sold you the property making on the property, right? You can't really
mm.
get stuck there. Like this guy was making about 100 grand. He just recently bought it 3 months prior to me buying it. I'm like, you know what? I just got to trust the deal, underwrite the deal. I believe in the deal. I believe in myself and move forward and just screw it. It doesn't matter how much they're making. Good for them. God bless them. Let them make their money, but just, do your numbers right. You have to believe in yourself, do your numbers right. Otherwise, it's going to be hard to buy a property that somebody just purchased it and selling it to you and making over 100 grand on it. And then, another thing is we all got our first batch of COVID. The entire family got sick because of a contractor. They were sick and he came to work and I was watching the property and then I got sick and I got my family sick and that was not a fun experience. My wife was not happy about that. So some of the things that worked well, again, market fluctuations to our advantage. The property almost doubled in value from what we purchased it. We've added value by increasing the square footage, the design, the open floor plan. All that adds value. Of course, staging is crucial when you're selling a property. We have our own staging company, so that's a tremendous value. Creating additional rental income, like I mentioned, the garage conversion and then midterm rental to offset a lot of the costs. That's a benefit of house hacking. And then leveraging lower down payment loans, as we talked about, leveraging other funding sources, zero out of pocket of personal funds, and creating an infinite return. So a lot of good things happen, but again, we need to highlight the challenges. Bless you. So the exit strategies, I'll just touch on that again. You got to think with the end in mind, right? You have to see what is that, what is it that, what's your end goal, and then work backwards from that. And that's where, knowing other different types of strategies. This way, if this doesn't work, okay, what else can you do, right? Right now in California, one of the biggest crazes is ADUs. Another thing that passed this year is SB9, which allows you to do a lot split. So now when I'm doing my fix and flips, I take all that into consideration. Can I do this with this property if the market shifts? You're never going to be able to time the market. Don't try to time the market. Just do what's right. And then if something changes, you got to pivot and be ready to exit, have an exit strategy. Just want to touch on, I launched my podcast in 2024 in January. I was committed to doing it. I've been consistent on that. It's called the Burr Investor Podcast. So if you guys can please support your boy and go check out the Burr Investor Podcast. You can scan any of these QR codes. It's on Amazon Music, it's on Spotify, and on YouTube. Check us out on the audio version and the video. Watch it on YouTube. Subscribe, like, share it with somebody. There's a lot of cool speakers and guests on there. And guess what? Make sure you check out this month. It's gonna drop. I usually drop every episode the last Friday of every month. And the episode with Miguel is gonna be dropping this month. So make sure you
Hey,
check
let's
it
go.
out and support
Let's
your boy
go.
here. And then that's it, man. This is my contact information. That's my cell phone, my email address. Please connect with me on social. You can find me on Instagram at Alex Nahle and at the Burr Investor, 4 R's. And then again, our YouTube channel is at the Nahle Group. So I would love for you guys to jump on there. Let's connect. And anything that I can do to support and help you guys with, that's what I'm here for. You want to share? You mentioned about the SOP. Drop the comment in the section. You can also visit the burrinvestor.com for the SOP. Do you mind if I jump and share that screen real quick?
Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and open that up so everyone knows what it looks like?
So if you go to the burrinvestor.com, THEB 4 R's investor.com, and just click on invest with Alex, fill this out here. And then in this section over here, just mention you want SOP. You'll be getting, complimentary standard operating procedures specifically for fix and flips and the Burr strategy. Also, if you're interested in, exploring the mentorship program, just put mentorship in there and we'll be in touch with you to share a little bit more about that.
Awesome. Well, hell yeah, guys. Dude, Alex, that was tons and tons of value. Appreciate you having on here, and we're excited to have you back on the next episode where we go into the deal analysis. But I felt like this was such a great insight of, if you're new to this, like what are the possibilities, the options, here's what to look out for, the mistakes, here's how we could be successful for it. So it was a great like overview on a real case study of how you made a challenge work. And I'm excited for us on the next call to go a little bit more deeper into just analyzing deals and just getting that exact like one skill down and, being able to offer that value to the community. Um, as we're about to wrap this up, we're basically done. We just wanted to open up the floor for any questions. Go ahead and drop it in the comment section and I'll just read it out to Alex. We'll give it a couple minutes if you guys got anything, but um, yeah, dude, great presentation, dude. This was awesome. I learned a lot. I'm gonna get back with you on learning more about those 0% interest loans. Like that's freaking awesome.
This is what it's about, creating that community. I learned a lot from you and, a lot from the people that I work with. And it's just about, helping each other out. And, with that said, like if anybody, again, a specific promotion for a Miggles community and for those that are on this call or listen to the call later, if anybody's interested in the mentorship program, wants to dive deeper with me on it, again, reach out to me. Let me know. For the first three, we're going to give a 50% off special for just the community. So hit me up, reach out to me, and I'll share more information with you on that. But again, just for this call for Miggles community.
Awesome, dude. Well, thank you so much. I guess there's not that many questions right now. I'll have them reach out to you, but just if you could go over, this is just personally what I'm super interested in, that 0% interest loan. So that's exclusive with Compass, and that's if you're selling a property with them.
Correct. Yeah. So that the concierge program is specifically with Compass, with our brokerage. If you're selling a property with me, obviously you got to prepare it for sale, right? So it takes time, and that's what the funds are for. It's
Hmm.
for rehabbing the property, painting the property, doing the kitchen, the bathroom, doing the lawn, paying for any expenses you have to for staging, right? The goal for this program is to add value, to give you a return on your investment, right? So
And get it
currently,
to flip fast, and
yeah,
so they could also get paid too.
100%. So in California, up to $40,000, there's that 750 fee. Over $40,000, they've increased it to 75,000. There's the initiation fee with a small interest. It is for a full year or until the property is sold and it's taken off the top through escrow. So it's a game changer, man.
That's awesome, dude. And then I guess one last question, because I'm all about, how do we find cheap money? Is you mentioned there's some credit unions that offer kind of like, was it not necessarily a first time home buyer thing, but it was like a down payment assistance or just like a 0% interest like down payment option or something like that. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, obviously we have a broad network of lenders, and you have to, curate everything for that specific client, the buyer, the seller, etc. There are some down payment assistance programs, and there's certain criteria you have to meet. However, there are some other, institutions such as credit unions that offer things specifically to, let's say, teachers, right? Schools First Credit Union.
Mm-hmm.
But most importantly is Navy Federal Credit Union, right? They offer 0% down payment loans, and you don't have to have been in the military. You just have to, have know somebody that is in the military that can invite you in to get in there. But they do offer 0% low and other low down payment options. But that's usually only offered to like veterans and stuff like that. But that is extended through that credit union. So yeah, that's another way to get 0% down payment, and you don't have to, it's not like a down payment assistance. Now there's other also
Nice.
down payment assistance loans where if let's say you go conventional 5%, you get an additional down payment assistance like 3 to 4% as well. You can use that, and you only pay it back if you refinance or you sell your house. So there's a lot of different things out there. It just really depends on what that specific person is looking for. But something like for you, yeah, like the Teachers Credit Union or Navy Federal Union to as far as a couple of examples there.
That's cool. Awesome. I got a question from Nettie. She's super hyped that she's got Navy Federal Credit Union, so she's excited
Woo!
to take advantage of that. That's awesome. I didn't know that either. I know I have a Navy Fed account as well, but I didn't know they offer 0% down, or you said it's a 0% down payment assistance. That's huge, dude.
Down payment, no
Um,
assistance. not an assistant. That's the cool part. Like it's just legit,
Oh,
it's
wow.
0% down. There's 5%, 3%, 0%. You don't need, it's not assistance. It's just like normal. Obviously, with more leverage, it's going to have different rates and it's a different program.
Yeah,
But
of
yeah,
course.
maximize that. Absolutely.
That's cool. Her question is with the Compass program you mentioned it's 40K for the state of California. Does that program work for other, let's say she wanted to invest out like in Illinois or something like that, just like another state. Is that something that Compass offers or is it just here in California?
No, I have a network of agents, almost in every single state and city. And I want to say, like I mentioned, almost. So we do have it in other states. Nettie, I had the pleasure of meeting her at our event, right? It's the same person that I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
Awesome, awesome, awesome people and great energy, very enthusiastic action taker, and I love that. So yeah, you can definitely utilize this in other states. Connect with me on that. I can dive deeper into it, but yeah, we can definitely set you up. Let's figure out what is it, what properties you're looking at, what state, and then I can give you the specific criteria for that state. It's not going to be necessarily 40,000, just like it is here in California. Every state has different guidelines, but yeah, we do have it there as well.
that's huge, dude. Well, heck yeah. No, I appreciate, dude, all the value. We'll stay in touch. Nettie and Harold say they're going to definitely be reaching out. So we're going to wrap it up, guys. Appreciate you guys taking the time to lend us your eyes, ears, and attention. And I know I got a ton of value, so I know you guys got a ton of value as well. Absolutely. Thank you for crushing that presentation. We're excited to have you back to just keep pouring into this community. And, like I said, like what I'm always thinking of ways to differentiate this community and deliver more and more value to the people who are, investing their time to even pay attention to these, right? Like attention is so important. So I'm always thinking of how could we add more value? And we're not just a funding company. We want to see you guys make money off of this debt that we're getting you and get you the cheapest rates possible. And that's all made possible through the 0% funding and all these different strategies that Alex is able to pour into this group. If you guys learned anything from this, drop it in the comments below. Let us know what you guys liked, what you guys would like to learn more. Because Alex, this isn't going to be the last time we have you. We're excited to have you back on the next Value Bomb Wednesday, and let's just keep crushing it, man. Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, I just want to close, I want to say, I'm very proud of what you've done. You've put together a phenomenal community here. You're providing tremendous value to people that, want to get started, that want to take action. I've had the pleasure of meeting some of them and, keep doing that. I really appreciate what you're doing. Anything I can do to support the community, it's again, it's all about helping each other out. And I want to, sincerely thank you for having me here. Would love to come back on. You just let me know. Let us know what you guys want to hear next time. Send us some deals you want us to go over. This is what we're here to do for you. So thanks again, and
Let's
I really
go.
appreciate it. I enjoyed it.
We got the powerhouse up here. Thank you guys. We'll talk to you guys soon. Peace out. Much love. Stay beautiful. And we will see you guys in the next one. Later.